the young ones. Those who came from overseas still have the integrity of their identity, but the young ones struggle with this a bit more. And I think it's very important to address this every time it comes around. So inshallah today we will talk about things pertaining to holidays, and especially pertaining to our belief in Isa alayhi salam. First, let's start with just the idea of who is Isa alayhi salam. Isa is a prophet, and for us Muslims, all prophets are highly regarded. Every single prophet is highly regarded. We believe that all prophets came with the same message, with the same creed. Although there can be very small minor differences in the do's and do nots, what's prohibited versus what's permissible, but the creed itself, what we believe in, is the same as what every single prophet has preached. Tawheed, that La ilaha illallah. This is the essence of the deen, right? So Isa alayhi salam was a prophet that we highly regard, that we highly love. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we be amongst those who believe in every single prophet, just as we believe in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now the story of Isa, though, is a very interesting story. The story of Isa alayhi salam starts with a woman. It starts with a woman. Which woman is that? It is his grandmother, Imra'atu Imran. The first mention of the story of Isa alayhi salam in the Quran, Surah Al Imran, which is actually named for Imra'atu Imran, for his grandmother, his own grandmother. What happened? His grandmother got pregnant, and she asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this baby in her tummy all but pure for him. And then when she gave birth, she said, "Oh Allah, I gave birth to a girl." And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Wallahu a'lamu bima wada'at." And in another narration, another qira'ah, "Wallahu a'lamu bima wada'tu," meaning Allah knows best what I have given birth to. And then Allah says, وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. Indeed, male is not the same as female. A lot of scholars said, oh, this is something that she said. But some scholars of tafsir actually said that this is something that, who said? That Allah is saying. That Allah in this particular situation is saying that this girl that you're giving birth to, this woman when she grows up, is not going to be like any other. Not even any other man. She is so special. And this is about Maryam, Mary, the mother of Isa alayhi salam. So another woman comes along. This is why it's very interesting. It's very particular and it's very unique. That there are two women mentioned before the Prophet, before Isa alayhi salam. His grandmother, then his mother. And both of them have the karama, had the honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to tell the story of how when Maryam was alone in the temple praying and worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Zakaria would come to her and he would find fruits that are out of season. And Ibn Kathir mentions in Al-Bidayah and Nihaya that those fruits were so prime. They were like A+ grade. They would have like won the blue ribbon or something. Every single fruit that she had. So he asks her, how could you get this? There's no one that can get this right now. And she would say, Huwa min indillah. Allah has given this to me. And when Zakaria saw this, he returned to his own temple and he said, Ya Allah, now that I see that you can do anything, you gave Maryam fruits out of season, give me a child out of season. Give me this child that I do not have that can carry on the message. And he was given Yahya, John the Baptist. And then the story goes on that Maryam was given Isa alayhi salam. And a few very quickly, very distinct things that I want to mention about Isa alayhi salam. First, of course, that we said he is a prophet, right? He did talk right after birth, when he was just a baby, and he said that he is the servant of Allah, that he will be a messenger from Allah, and that he will be kind to his mother, right? All this he said when they asked her, how could you get a child without having a husband? And the second thing is, Isa alayhi salam is not just a messenger. He is one of ulul azmi min ar-rusul, the 5 highly regarded messengers that we see in Islam. Right? He is one of the top. So he's not just a human being, he's one of the top 5 human beings, basically. That's the second thing about Isa alayhi salam. The third thing about Isa alayhi salam is that he preached Tawheed. He never said that I am God. In our Islamic religion, we believe that Isa alayhi salam preached Tawheed, told his people, worship Allah and no one but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we believe that on the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make him bear witness against those who took him as a God. And he will say, Isa, وإذ قال الله يا عيسى ابن مريم أنت قلت للناس اتخذوني وأمي إلهين من دون الله. Isa, have you told the people to take you or your mother gods with Allah or instead of Allah? And then Isa alayhi salam would say, Ma'ad Allah, I cannot tell them anything but what you have commanded me to preach. So he will bear witness against them. That's the second thing. Or that's the third or fourth thing. The other thing is, Isa alayhi salam was not crucified. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ. Isa was not crucified. What happened? Allah made it for them so that they can think that they have done this, but they have not. So they got confused. With the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this happened. What happened to him? بَلْ رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَيْهِ. Allah took him up in the heavens where he is. And the fifth thing that we believe about Isa alayhi salam is that he will come back. Isa alayhi salam will come back as one of the major signs of the Day of Judgment. And at that time, he will be leading whom? He will be leading the Muslims, who will be leading the true believers in the final battle against Ad-Dajjal. Right? And he will stay with them through the phase of Gog and Magog, Ya'juj and Ma'juj as well. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we are there at that time, to be of those who follow Isa alayhi salam. A few differences though between what we believe and what's happening around us, because this is the crucial point. Right? We know roughly, everyone almost knows what I've talked about so far. But what's happening around us is that people of Christian faith are celebrating Jesus' birthday as the Son of God. And this is a major thing that we have to be very, very careful with. Why? Because it can slip into our minds, it can slip into young people's minds. Yes, we do love Isa alayhi salam. And yes, we do love him as a prophet, and we regard him as a highly regarded messenger from ulul azmi min ar-rusul. But we have to be very clear that our belief in him is very different than what they are saying about him. Very different. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, in Surah Maryam, in the same surah that mentions the story of Isa and Maryam, the same surah, it ends in the final page, it ends with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ الرَّحْمَنُ وَلَدًا. And they say that the Rahman, the most merciful, has taken a child. لَقَدْ جِئْتُمْ شَيْئًا إِدَّا. You have made a huge evil sin. تَكَادُ السَّمَاوَاتُ يَتَفَطَّرْنَ مِنْهُ. From the gravity of this sin, the heavens are almost torn, the earth is almost split, the mountains almost crumble amongst themselves. Why? Because of this saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would take a child. And Allah says again, وَمَا يَنْبَغِي لِلرَّحْمَنِ أَنْ يَتَّخِذَ وَلَدًا. It's not suitable for Allah, for the most merciful, to take a child. And then He says that every single creature will come to Allah as a servant, including Isa alayhi salam. We are all coming back to Allah on the Day of Judgment as servants. We will be judged, including Isa alayhi salam. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wraps up the whole thing saying, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ سَيَجْعَلُ لَهُمُ الرَّحْمَنُ وِدًّا. Those who believe and do good, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give their love, will give people the love of them in their hearts, including Isa alayhi salam. Isa alayhi salam was one of those who have believed and did good. This is why those who believe should always have the love for Him in their hearts. Now why is the distinction between what they believe in and what we believe in important? Because if we believe that this saying is a sin, then celebrating this saying is also a sin. Celebrating this saying of that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has gotten a child, this is also a sin. So should we or should we not participate? Should we partake in anything that has to do with this? Of course not. Of course not. And whenever we see anything that reminds us of this, like all the decorations, all this, we should always remind ourselves that this is different for us. Someone once told me a while back, I've made it a habit for myself, whenever I see a cross, I would say, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. I would remind myself that this is different than what I believe in. I would remind myself that this is something very grave, very dangerous for me to be acquainted to be accustomed to. This is what we always should do. So we can get into this habit. You see a Christmas tree, you say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. You see any other celebration, you say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Just reminding yourself and reminding those Muslims around you as well that we are different. Our belief is different, is in its core is different, and this is a very, very dangerous thing to be accustomed to. Now, having said that, an important thing as well is how can we conduct ourselves with people who have those beliefs, who are celebrating. Let that be neighbors, colleagues, co-workers, or anyone we cross the street and say hi to. Right? You go into a restaurant, you go into a shop, buying groceries, someone tells you, oh, Merry Christmas, or Happy Holidays. How do we conduct ourselves in that? Whether or not, I haven't had a single source that the Prophet ﷺ addressed this directly, but it's addressed in the following, in the companions that followed the Prophet ﷺ. And they address it, and the scholars actually addressed it in two very distinct things, right? So the first thing that we said, which is anything that has to do with belief, we should not be partaking any part of that. That's the one thing. So even in saying, so what's haram and what's halal is very distinct here. Even in saying Merry Christmas, for example, this is, you are saying the word Christmas. You are recognizing this as a day where Christ was born, right? And Christ as a Son of God. So this is something we should always refrain from. However, having social courtesy, where someone would tell you, oh, Merry Christmas, you shouldn't just frown in their faces, right? Ali ibn Abi Talib, had some of the Persians gift him faludaj, which is, for I think Pakistanis would know what faludaj is. It's some sort of sweets basically that they were celebrating the Nayruz, the beginning of their year, and it's a holy day for them. So what did Ali ibn Abi Talib do? He ate from it, and he asked them, "Why are you gifting me this?" So they said, "Oh, this is Nowruz. This is the beginning of our holy year. This is a very highly day for us." So he said, "May all your days be Nowruz." So he gave them a gesture of courtesy, basically, right? So things like happy holidays, or enjoy your holidays, or may your days be happy, stuff like that, those are common courtesy words that you can actually use. As a Muslim, you shouldn't be the grumpy one in the crowd or in the group, but you should always also preserve your aqeedah when you're walking around the street and when you're interacting with people. Okay? It's absolutely fine. I once had a Jewish co-worker who someone told him Merry Christmas. They didn't know he was Jewish. So he said, "Oh, if that's what you do, it's okay." This is how he reacted. He doesn't believe in it. So why should he say, "Oh, Merry Christmas to you too"? He didn't. I'm not saying that the way he made the comment was okay. No, I don't think it was. But I think that if you don't believe in something, you should actually be confident enough to say, "Oh, you know what? I don't believe it." Even if you're telling yourself that, and you respond back in a courteous manner. Say, "Oh, happy holidays, enjoy your holidays, God bless," so that Allah can give them guidance, for example, whatever. So this is the second thing that I wanted to talk about, which is how we conduct ourselves among in these times. In the second khutbah, inshallah, I will talk briefly about some lessons of the story of Isa alayhi salam. أقول ما تسمعون أستغفر الله لي ولكم ادعوا الله وأنتم موقنون بالإجابة. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق وسيد المرسلين محمد بن عبد الله عليه أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم. أما بعد, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us His mercy and His blessings. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to always guide us to be amongst the righteous, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to always protect our faith and our belief in Him as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam preached. A few quick lessons of the story of Isa alayhi salam. We talked about how the story began with his grandmother and her prayer for a good offspring. And this is, for me, this is the major lesson, that offspring comes from good dua. You ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for good offspring, for good descendants, for good children and their children, and it will come by. His grandmother asked for a good offspring, and she got Maryam, who has a whole surah named after her. There is not a surah called Isa, but there is a surah called Maryam. There is not a surah called Isa, but there is a surah called Ali Imran, the family of Imran, reflecting on his own grandmother. So the dua with good offspring is a crucial thing in a Muslim's life. The second thing is supplication. Right? When Zakaria alayhi salam saw what Maryam had, he went and asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this. For this impossible thing, by the way. He was old. He was so old that he said, وَاشْتَعَلَ رَأْسُ شَيْبًا, all my hair is gray. That's it, I'm done. وَامْرَأَتِي عَاقِرٌ, my wife cannot bear children. But he still asked Allah for it, and Allah still gave it for him. This is how our perspective should be with asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something. And this is the next thing. Is He not capable? Did Allah not create Jesus with no father, with no biological father. Something biologically up till this day is impossible. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ مَثَلَ عِيسَى عِنْدَ اللَّهِ كَمَثَلِ آدَمَ خَلَقَهُ مِنْ تُرَابٍ ثُمَّ قَالَ لَهُ كُنْ فَيَكُونَ. He said, be, and it was. So reflect on your own life, reflect on the hardships that you have, reflect on those things that you see impossible to get out of. And then say, well, all around me is reminding me that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Jesus with an impossible situation. Can He not bring me out of this hardship, which I see as an impossible situation? Wallahi, He can. You have to ask Him in pure belief that He can, and He will. Just like what Zakaria did. And this is the second major lesson in the story. The final thing I will conclude with is our belief ends with Isa alayhi salam coming back again as a major sign of the Day of Judgment. And we should always, always, always get ready for this. We shouldn't say, oh, when he comes we'll be good. No. When Mahdi comes, when Dajjal comes, when Isa alayhi salam comes, when those signs come, either you have been good so you will be saved, or you have not been and you should run. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all from being amongst those who have gone astray. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us preserve our faith and preserve our iman and increase our belief in Him through these times. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us raise our children believing in Him and in Islam the way it's intended by Him to be. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for us to follow Islam everywhere we go and anywhere we go and whomever we are with. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to always give us guidance. أقول ما تسمعون وأستغفر الله لكم وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Straighten your lines, shoulder to shoulder, close the gaps. Allahu Akbar. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. قالوا يا مريم لقد جئت شيئا فريا يا أخت هارون ما كان أبوك امرأ سوء وما كانت أمك بغيا فأشارت إليه قالوا كيف نكلم من كان في المهد صبيا قال إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا وجعلني مباركا أينما كنت وأوصاني بالصلاة والزكاة ما دمت حيا وبرا بوالدتي ولم يجعلني جبارا شقيا والسلام علي يوم ولدت ويوم أموت ويوم أبعث حيا ذلك عيسى ابن مريم قول الحق الذي فيه يمترون. الله
سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Small reminder, inshallah, this Sunday, the 22nd, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. is a youth night, is a youth holiday night. We'll be discussing things about the holidays, inshallah, some activities, and there will be pizza as well. So youth, boys and girls from 13 to 18 are welcome to join. Jazakallah khair.